2. Yes. Come on, 5. Come on, 6. I'm a little bit nervous for this now. 2, 3, 8. So guys, I get a lot of questions on this, and how do I specifically train legs? Certainly since the Great British Swim, when I skipped leg day for what was 157 days, basically because I was just swimming for 1,780 miles, I didn't have to really use my legs much. And so now I'm back on land. It's this kind of like land leg rehab that I've been doing with Vivo Barefoot, where I think key for me is just putting stress and stimuli through the joints. So everything from my Achilles tendons to the smaller intricate muscles in my feet, they all basically atrophied. So they all just shriveled up because I wasn't using them.
All these little muscles are trying to work. Look at that. They're all flickering, trying to work. You can actually see them like they're just got nothing. Come on! Because you've lost some of that proprioception too. Yeah.
And so now I'm just trying to put stress and stimuli through the joints, and it's not really that specific. So if you look at leg training for, say, bodybuilders, they'll be looking at hypertrophy, doing a lot of bodybuilding centric work. If you're looking at sprinters, they'll be doing box jumps, plyometrics, looking at rate of force development. Whereas with me, I'm just basically rehabbing my legs. So it's just about putting that force and stress and stimuli through the joints and through the legs. So with that said, I'm going to finish up today doing a 10k swim this morning. Then we are going up Scafell Pike with the Gymshark team. We're recceing, for those who don't know, that is England's highest mountain, for a shoot a little bit later. And then there is talk about going back to Gymshark HQ, where my good friends Ollie and Jack want to do a leg session afterwards. So it's basically going to be 3,000 feet of elevation up Scafell Pike, down, leg session, and then a 10k swim this morning. Because like I said, for me, it's just stress and stimuli through the legs to try and get my land legs back and make up for the fact I skipped leg day for 157 days. Take a peek. It's not bad. It's not good either. 30 seconds rest. I've just done a cheeky 10k this morning. I start off most of my days, which is very swimming specific, just because said principle, specific adaptation to opposed demands, just means you get really, really good at what you repeatedly practice. So I always start it off with swimming, but then a little later in the day, if I've got enough adaptation energy, I'll start doing my supplementary strength workout. And with legs, it's a little bit weird, certainly swimmers' legs, because basically your leg kick accounts for 10% of overall propulsion, between 10 to 30%. So what that means is, as much as you're kind of like kicking your legs and going crazy, it's just a high energy cost for not much propulsion through the water. So I barely kick my legs, certainly as a long distance swimmer, barely kick my legs. All but my legs do. If that's my head, my legs are kicking just enough to make sure that I'm actually in this horizontal position. So I'm basically working with the laws of hydrodynamics and cutting through the water. So with all of that said, the leg session that you're about to see is something that I use to improve work capacity. So your body's ability to perform and positively tolerate training of a given intensity and duration. So there's going to be a lot of volume, quite a bit of weight, and all looking around work capacity, because ultimately I think a lot of swimmers neglect legs because they don't actually serve a specific function. But if you train legs, it trains the body in its entirety, if that makes sense. Good old. Good man. 2 more and then rack it. Good old. Done. And then on that final set, we're just going to drop it. It's just something I like too, especially I think when you've got 3 of us, because there's lots of rest in between sets.
Burn out.
Yeah. So what we're doing right now, just because me, Jack and Ollie are catching up, been a long day filming as well, so this is kind of evening now, doing a big session, is just making sure that we're working just short of failure, so never really grinding out a rep. Gonna keep putting on weight, lots of rest in between, high volume, lots of rest, and on the very final set, we're gonna do almost like a Dorian Yates, Mike Mensa type drop set, where it works quite well with 3 of us, because we can get 2 either side, whip the weight up, all the way until you just got 1 weight left. And I always say with Mike Mensa and Dorian Yates type high intensity training, that if you could do another set after that one wasn't hard enough. So that's what we're working up to right now, but at the moment it's still very civilized and lots of rest. That's all we're doing, just drilling those motor patterns basically. Come on, let's go. Come on, push, 1 more, come on. And rack it, good. Very good. 1 more. Good, Jack, good. Come on. Basically, this is what we've been leading up until. All the volume and all the sets that you've just seen have basically been warm-up sets. I know that sounds really stupid, but it's just volume, putting it in, don't fatigue, don't grind out a rep. And now, this is this Dorian Yates, Mike Mensa, high intensity training, that if you could do another set after this on leg press, this wasn't hard enough. You go to absolute failure. And once you whip the weights up, drop set, throw in some negatives where you're lowering the weight as slow as possible, this is gonna get ugly. I feel it's my session, so I have to take the reins. Come on. Come on. Deeper, 2 more, come on. Good, there you go, deeper. Good. Good. Come on, 3, 2 more. 4, 5, 5. Come on, 6, come on. 7, 8, 9, 1 more. Fucking beast.
Fucking squealed.
Yes, Ollie Smith. That was big.
Cheers, lads.
Bit nervous. I'm a little bit nervous for this now. Because he's just smashed it. Oh. What do you reckon, Jamie? Do you reckon I'm going to do alright?
I think you'll do fine, man. I think you'll do fine.
Okay, come on. 4 of these. 2 more. 1 more. 3, 4, 1 more. 8, 9, 5, 4, 1, 5, 4, 1, 2. Cheers, thanks for that. Oh,
Mate, you legends, thank you.
mate.
Mate,
Oh, no, are they good?
yeah, just in here, like,
Yeah.
burning. Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mate, I bet that was the worker who's pushing it up.
Oh, mate, I was struggling the first couple.
Mate, thank you. But I think the thing is that set right there, we've done 1 exercise. That's what's crazy. I think you see too many people going around the gym and it's suboptimal. They've barely like broken out into a sweat. Whereas right now, my legs are like, you know, we're now gonna do some more kind of like single movements, bodybuilding centric work capacity. But right now, that was horrendous.
Yeah.
And you feel stress and stimuli done. So again, I suppose what we're doing now, in terms of the volume that we've just done, and also as well looking at mechanical tension, so just putting weight through the joints. Now what we're doing is more metabolic stress, and what I mean by that is we're doing 10 sets of 5 to 10 seconds rest in between. It's just about accumulating lactic acid, like your legs should just be in pieces. All because I suppose when looking at strength training, there's no scientific consensus on the best way, certainly to build muscle, but also to strength train. So we're actually just playing with different principles. As per the book, if you teach a man principles, he can create his own methods. And hopefully, like I said, now Ollie and Jack will be able to go away and just go, oh, what did we do with Ross? Oh yeah, metabolic stress. And you can apply it to anything. What we're doing right now and what we just did on the leg press, you can actually do with calves, chest, back, anything. Is the theory anyway. 6. 9. 7. Good man. Oh! Oh! Good. Good. 9. 10. Good. Can't even move it.
Yes!
It's quite nice now. After the intensity of those very first exercises, now we're moving more into like those smaller isolation movements, looking at calves. What's interesting is, like, I really don't need calves for swimming, I acknowledge that, but I've had to work quite hard on not just the calves, but also like the Achilles tendon, because I just wasn't putting any weight through my feet. So with calves, I'm always trying to put a lot of weight through that big toe, driving like you will when you forefoot strike. So that's essentially what I'm doing right now, but I do acknowledge that you don't necessarily need calves to swim, but it's more still part of my land leg rehab basically. That was horrendous. That was horrendous. That turned into a completely impromptu, horrible leg session. But hopefully you see as well how everything was kind of put together. I think whenever you piece together a workout, it's got to be like a piece of art. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but what I mean by that is, like I said, mechanical tension at the start, just generating force, went into a little bit of metabolic stress, some cluster sets, isolation bodybuilding centric work when we did the calves, finish up work capacity or horsepower program as I call it. Leg session completely made up on the day, done.